Hello YouTube, this is Let's Talk Horror and I am back with you with another video, but before we get to that, I do want to give a small channel update, if you will. For one, I do have a video on Halloween coming out next week, and when I say Halloween, I'm talking of course about the Halloween franchise. As I said in my last video, it is easily my favorite slasher franchise, so I finally want to make a video on that. And that should be coming next week. But the bigger thing is I'm thinking about doing a format change, with the simple reason being, this channel is still in its very early stages, and I just want to experiment with some different things and, improve and continue to improve and give you guys the best possible product I can. So stay tuned for that. But on to the main part of the video, which is Stephen King's It, and a potential It Chapter 3 sequel. Now, I have a very special relationship with this story because, I love this story, and I was introduced to it from a very young age. I, like a lot of people, was very, very scared of the 1990 miniseries as a kid, and I loved Tim Curry's Pennywise. And I was super excited when I heard that a remake or reboot or whatever you want to call it was coming out in 2017. As far as the 2017 movie goes, I did enjoy it. I don't think it quite lived up to the hype, but at the same time the hype was a little bit too much. I remember Stephen King's son coming out and saying after a screening that it was going to be one of the top 5 scariest movies ever made, and that didn't quite happen. It wasn't quite that good. It was still a very good movie, still a very good modern-day horror movie, but didn't quite become what Stephen King's son said it would be. It Chapter 2, I liked. I think I liked it more than some other people gave it credit for, although I do need to watch it again because, well, I'll get into that in another video maybe. I had a bad experience at the movie theater at the time that prevented me from giving it a fair assessment. But that leads us to It Chapter 3. We almost surely are getting a sequel. It Chapter 1, correct me if I'm wrong. You can comment below in the comment section and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is still the highest grossing horror movie ever. And then It Chapter 2 is didn't do quite as well actually, but it's still did very well at the box office, and that type of franchise, that money-making potential is just not going to be left on the shelves. We need to accept that. But as far as the third movie goes, I am of the firm belief that it needs to be a prequel, not a sequel. The only way I could see it being a sequel is if Stephen King himself releases a new book, which is actually rumored. It's been rumored for the past 6 months to a year, I believe, that Stephen King could be planning a sequel to his original book of It, in a similar way that he did with Dr. Sleep being a sequel to The Shining. I do trust Stephen King, so I'd be interested to see what he had in mind. But as far as a standalone sequel that goes against the original book, I'm not a fan of that, because the sequel ideas that I have heard, quite frankly, the whole idea of maybe the Losers Club being old now and their grandchildren having to go into the sewers to fight Pennywise, to me at that point you'd just be milking the product. That would just be milking the product for profits. I'm not sure what new you could do with that, and I'd just be more interested in a prequel, because there's so much in that book that hasn't been explored on screen, that could be explored on screen. The Derry interludes and the founding of Derry and how they dealt with Pennywise back in the old days. That would have been really cool. That could be really cool to explore. Like in the book, in the 1990 miniseries, and I think even in the 2017 film, it's referenced about how an entire civilization just disappeared without a trace. I think that would be really cool to explore in a prequel. And I think that has a lot more potential than just, a sequel that with the Losers Club, grandchildren or whatever going into the sewers. I think that weakens the original story, and I just think it's a cash grab, to be honest. So I am firmly in the camp of it being a prequel, because I think that's more true to the original story, and the only way that I wanted to be a sequel is if it goes along with the announcement of a new book by Stephen King. I don't know. I haven't heard a sequel idea that really, really, really intrigues me when it comes to that original story and when it comes to an It Chapter 3. And I just think, as I've said, there's so much that hasn't been explored when it comes to a prequel that could be really good. I think prequels get a bad rap, but they can be really good, and I think that would be really cool as long as you don't give too much away when it comes to Pennywise, when it comes to the monster, because I think there is an aura of mystery there that needs to remain. But yeah, that is very simply my take. I'm sorry if any of you are interested in a sequel. I know there are some that are interested in a sequel, but I am more interested in a prequel. I think it remains true to the story. I think a potential sequel would really weaken the Losers Club defeating Pennywise. I think that could weaken it, and I don't like that as well. And, I don't know. I'm just not that intrigued by a lot of the sequel ideas that I've heard. So that is my very quick overview of what I would like to see out of an It Chapter 3 or a third It movie. Comment below and let me know your thoughts. What did you think of this video? What would be your, sequel concept or prequel concept or whatever? Just let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear them, and if you haven't already, click that subscribe button. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you later. Let's Talk Horror is out.